not his name, it's his title. And he's terribly important for traditions and in the mind of the population. And he's constantly threatened by the government. These governments, the more corrupt they are, the more rich they are, they find these tribal chiefs unnecessary and actually disturbing, because they are poor. King Makoko Nempio, he's poor, but he's very powerful spiritually. And here we have BRAZZA, the picture of BRAZZA, to whom this painting is dedicated. And it's a sort of classic picture. It's a picture by Félix Nadar, this famous photographer at the turn of the century, who photographed Victor Hugo, Rodin, Sarah Bernard, all the great celebrities of the time. And this is the way that he portrayed BRAZZA. He did travel in this way, but not as a show-off. It's because he had lost his shoes in the rapids, and also he was walking across the Bateke plateau, which is enormous. It has very few trees, and so under the sun he had to protect himself. But he literally wasn't a warrior, so this is the only way to represent him. He may have inspired Lawrence of Arabia. Everybody says that. And here we have on this side, so it's a bit difficult to understand, but the four figures are there, and then they are surrounded by the other paintings. Here we have, yes, one thing which is really interesting. People ask, how did these master painters work together? It's a very difficult thing to understand in the West. If you took 9 great artists and asked them together to make a painting, it would almost be impossible. It would almost be impossible because you would have 9 egos having to cope with each other, and it would be a disaster. But this is all the difference between Africa or Asia and the West, America, Europe. They don't seem to have the same ego problem or egomania that we have. And therefore, they only think, at least in this case, they only thought about the art, about what they had to do, what they wanted to do in the best possible way. And they had a lot of meetings, and they took all the decisions together. And they worked in a harmony. And they put, they say about it actually that this is the great asset of their atelier, because it's based on supporting each other and solidarity. And that's why they have also dedicated this painting to BRAZZA, because they say he had the same way of behaving with Africans, with their own people. And in a country where, like Congo, the government is always trying to split these ethnic groups, to make them fight together, so that there is, to create an instability, continuous fear and instability, through these incredible, lovely, they're so inspiring, these interviews with the artists. What you understand and what they say, that they are an example of what the country would be if the government was not reigning but governing in a just way. So this whole painting is really an expression of great artistic solidarity and a kind of for the common good, let's say. And but if you know the artist and you know their individual work, you do see a difference. We now, after a few years that we are connected with these artists and with the school, we know who has painted what, and we can really feel the spirit of each. And here we have four, always framing the centerpiece. We have the panthea. The panthea is a very important symbol in the ethnic group of the Bateke. Its courage is really power and fearless, to be fearless. And it's a symbol of the royal king. All these, this figure here is historically important too, although minor in relation to BRAZZA. He is the great Malamine, Senegalese, who was the bodyguard of BRAZZA, if you want to, if you want to describe him, but a fearless, wonderful man who had great communication, of course, with his African counterparts. Each panel has a meaning and has, you have to explore these paintings. There's so much inside, and the painters can describe everything. You have to go into an exploration, an adventure of exploration, like BRAZZA did in the forests of Congo and on the rivers. Each painting is a world, and through the exploration of these paintings, you really enter the heart of Africa. You understand what moves them, what is important for them. People ask here, students asked about the colors. How can a society, how can people who live in very difficult conditions of life, they are harassed, they are really abandoned, have such an incredible explosion of joy with these colors? And the answer was, well, we are in a tropical climate, we are surrounded by heat, and therefore what comes out of us is hot colors, like our life, which is hot for the negative side, which is always in fire, and hot because of the climate and the density of what we see around us, the tension. Here is a video that Terence Ward shot of the atelier, the artists together, and it's the time that we spent in Congo, about a month, creating a rapport with the artist, understanding what they were doing. And then we actually brought from Italy all the oils, all the canvas, everything, because for them it's almost a tour de force to get hold of the materials. And it's the interviews. Each artist gives his own opinion of art and his vocation and describes his life. It's really inspiring. And the funny thing that happened is when we brought the day we actually gave them all the material, suddenly it started to rain. And it was the first monsoon rain, and not monsoon, the first rain after 7 months of drought. So they, of course, interpreted like a good omen, a wonderful, inspiring, spiritual event.
Mm.
This painting will definitely remain in America. And it's going to be so appreciated, I'm absolutely sure about it.
And you know, like Africa was like full of these kingdoms that were really, you know. Idanna gave me a copy of it, and I really appreciate that. Why are you doing this?